Hello to another episode of Tech Talk, and today we're having our favorite subject on cybersecurity, and I have my cybersecurity officer here.
Hey guys.
Cameron.
Yeah, it seems like every single week there's another thing about attacks or vulnerabilities, people losing money and data.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we're thinking about this morning what we're going to talk about, and most of the time is right now is cybersecurity again.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. So last weekend I was shocked to see that again that a lot of hospitals got attacked with ransomware attacks and shutting things down all over the nation, trying to get finding out what actually happened, and then also it really is detrimental because of surgeries are being cancelled.
Right, I heard they're even having to resort back to pen and paper.
Yes, I saw that too. Pen and paper out again.
Yeah.
Which works all the time. I mean, you'll get the virus with that, but obviously it's going to be really slow and going backwards here.
Right, and even in a healthcare organization, the more hands-on with pen and paper, the higher possibility of bacteria in the office.
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously we can't go back to that. So anyway, we want to talk about that today, and because we see that happening, everywhere around the world, and we hear this quite often from many businesses saying that, I am not going to get hit. I don't have to invest into anything like that because, I'm not a major target. I'm not a large company. What's your opinion about that?
So while the company that says those things may not be a large company, the clients that they have may have data that's critical and can be attacked. I talked to one of our techs in training today about the chain of attack where this person's email address gets exposed, and moving from that they get down the chain until they get to something that's good and valuable. So say one of the healthcare administrators there had her Netflix password compromised, right? Well, they also use that same email address and password for logging into the healthcare system,
right?
Which just opens up more and more vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't think just because you have a small company or a one-man operation that you can't get hit by this. And we're not trying to scare everybody, but we have to basically, this is kind of a wake-up call again. That hey, this is out there. It's not going away. It's just getting more and more crazy all the time. There are so many solutions out now that we offer and other companies offer that protect you against these things. But I think the one thing I want to talk about very early on is the first defense that you have in your business.
I hear it sits between the keyboard and the chair.
Right, and that's your employee. So invest into employee training. There are many training programs out there that basically test scenarios with your employees, and trying to kind of trick them into opening something or following a phone call, because there's lots of regular attacks too, where it's not just through computers, it's just a phone call, right?
Right. So again, I was talking to one of our employees in training about this the other day, and I explained to them that a lot of these data breaches come from angry employees, angry customers, or the employees messing something up. So you kind of have to cover all your bases and do internal audits.
Right.
You can hire a company like us and we'll do audits as well for you, but you can do internal audits where you send out spam emails and they can mark this is spam and that'll pass. Or if they actually go through and submit the information, that's when you need to have a conversation with them.
And you technically call it penetration testing, right?
Penetration testing.
Right, pen testing.
Pen testing is it includes a whole environment, not just the aspect of people falling for phishing attacks or phone attacks, but it's also making sure that RDP is not open.
Remote desktop protocol. That's an old thing, and we still see it once in a while, right?
Yeah, connecting from all the way in India over to here in the U.S. through an open RDP port, and I'm not understanding why they're getting attacked.
Yeah, any country, any kind of opening. I mean, this is a little technical now. We're talking about basically RDP. In the old days, if you had to access your server remotely, you open up basically a port on your router. Your router is your device, directing all the traffic, and opening up basically a door from the outside to get in. And that's not very secure at all. Nowadays, this is a big no-no. Every time we see that kind of thing, we shut this down, because this is not allowed anymore.
So, Jurgen, you said you don't want to scare people, But the news I just read this morning scared me enough that I think people should be aware. So apparently now, using AI and keystroke analysis, people can detect what you're typing with 95% accuracy.
That's crazy.
Breaking that down a little bit, they used a cell phone near a laptop, and by the directional microphone of how loud it was and the direction it was, they were able to tell after training the AI what it was. And I think you brought up this morning, what about if someone gets into your camera system and then they don't need a keylogger or anything, they can just record your keystrokes and slow it down.
Right, with 4K cameras, again, you can look at the keyboard, or the AI system better, and a trained AI system can look at a keyboard and then basically recreate what was typed on that keyboard.
Exactly.
So that is absolutely blew me away this morning when Cameron mentioned that to me. So basically you have your phone, somebody puts a phone there right there, and in like a coffee shop or somewhere.
Yep.
And then somebody has a notebook next to it, and I'm start typing. Well, the AI, the artificial intelligence system on the phone, basically looks at the time it takes, right?
Yep.
How fast
It's called
the
a timing attack, yeah.
sound travels from the keyboard to the phone.
Yep.
And by each distance of the key, which is so minute, it knows what the key was.
With 95% accuracy.
95%. That is crazy. Wow.
And the biggest way we can stop, that's a new attack. That's a 0-day attack. They still have stuff coming out for that. But the biggest way we can stop stuff like this hospital being attacked is measures like endpoint detection and response, or SOC, even what we do, remote monitoring, having those kind of things in place with the cloud backup. Services that we offer, but businesses don't quite understand that it is part of a healthy diet.
It is. I mean, it's kind of like the same as, having a computer. With a computer, you need to have security on it. And nowadays, it's not enough anymore just to have your own, personal virus protection or firewall on the machine, especially not the built-in firewall and virus protection of Windows. You need to have something stronger that actually is able to get updated much quicker. It has much more robust features on it. What I like too is that I get a lot of emails being sent to us from our clients saying, "Hey, I got this email. Is it a bad email? I don't want to open it," which is great. I mean, if you get something you don't know what it is, you're supposed to not open it. Well, but how do you ever know what's inside, right? So
right. And we use advanced business class antivirus, and we monitor and we see email with malware, blocked.
Right.
So as the emails come in, they're blocked.
Right. So for example, with something more advanced, you can actually open up that email in what's called a sandbox environment, which a sandbox means it's just a simple, silly name of calling it, but it's basically it's like a privately section in your computer that the computer won't be affected if something goes wrong. So if that email explodes inside that little,
it's like a little test environment.
Exactly.
Separate, isolated.
It doesn't affect the rest of the machine. So you can still open up and look inside, and maybe it's something real, maybe it isn't.
Right.
But that's still, I think, the number one thing how people get in trouble nowadays is opening up email attachments. That's still number one.
Malicious PDFs. Now, back in the day, we had macros enabled on Word documents.
Oh yeah, old-fashioned.
Macro bombs, macro viruses. Now it's more of the PDFs, the external links that they'll open up, and JavaScript will take their username and password. But it's serious. I mean, just last month, 146,000 records. That means 146,000 people were impacted by cybersecurity vulnerabilities and had their information stolen. Twitter had 220 million records stolen this year. And that's, X. X had 220 million records stolen this year.
X.
But it's a serious thing. It's like when you open up a business, you buy your computers, you hire your employees, you buy QuickBooks. Everybody has to buy their QuickBooks or whatever software they use for that. And you do have to get some kind of RMM or protection. Either that or you have to hire a guy for $80,000 a year to sit there and monitor your business.
Right.
And a lot of people are outputting that kind of work to companies like us because they know we have a whole team. They don't just get one guy who at 2 o'clock he might not be reliable. You have a whole team going with our stuff.
Right. And you also have different layers of protection. So it's, say,
Like an onion?
you know, yeah, exactly. That's a funny one. Good. So anyway, you know, because also we are obviously sleeping at night, and some of us are up late at night, some of us up, but we also always get alarms, and we run to these very, very quickly. So when it comes to endpoint protection, you also have to imagine, first protection is actually the software on the machine. Second is the software calls out to us or another company, says, hey, there's something wrong, you need to check it out. Now, if that person doesn't respond, the software can actually reach out to a security endpoint center, right? A security center that's open and manned 24 hours a day with basically a whole large team of engineers and cybersecurity guys, and they will basically jump to it and then shut down the machine. So there are different levels you can jump through. And of course, it costs differently too. It's a la carte. So, you know, the cheapest way you can have is just the monitoring from local, or you can have the endpoint protection with the security center. So, and we really want to make sure that everybody understands how that works. And also, we see quite often that companies want to protect their server, right?
Right.
So, a server, as we know, is the machine that holds all your data, all your vital information. You basically, your entire company is on there. So your server does the hosting of your files, it does the backup, and also security. Now, I get this question all the time. Can I just get away by having my server monitored and full protection on the server? And we say no, because that's not the way to do it. You have to imagine. The machine itself, where your employee is sitting on, that's the first surface of attack. So people are going to try to get in that machine through, like I said, email attachments, and then something might happen on the machine and that starts attacking the server. So we want to prevent it from coming in the first place.
So, like, in the past, we've thought about an office as a traditional work environment. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you're in the office. Now everybody's transitioning to work from home, work remote, and that puts up a lot more vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
You know, if their kids got on it and started to play a game, downloading mods and things like that, and now the computer that's been compromised just by your kid trying to have fun is now connected to that server. So that kid can accidentally delete all the records for your company.
Right,
you know?
and your virus protection is not going to do anything about it. So
Exactly. So between SOC, EDR, a security operations center, endpoint detection response, and backup, that kind of gives you, what I tell customers, it's the ADT for computer. ACT is the ADT for computers. We take care of the full house of computers.
Right. And also the very, very important thing to have, and sadly a lot of businesses don't think about it until it's too late, is you need to have some kind of emergency response plan. You need to have a piece of paper, because that doesn't go away, and right on there, point by point, and we can even design this for you, that basically, you know, this is what you have to do if something does go wrong.
Right. Well, like, we're in Florida, right? So it's important to have policies in place that are known by the manager there and enforced by either an on-site IT person or a company like us for environmental concerns.
Right.
You know, if all your computers shut down because of a power loss, you're going to lose your data.
Right.
Everybody should have an APC to give them at least 15 minutes to save and shut down.
Right.
There's a misunderstanding that some people think that APCs are for long-term use, but it's really to save and shut down. Are you going to use a generator? Is your data stored on-site, or do you have cloud backup? If a hurricane blows away your building, same thing with an attacker. If someone breaks into your company and steals your server, are you going to have a backup off-site?
Physically, yeah.
So there's physical policies, cybersecurity policies, environmental policies, administrative policies, such as least access privileges.
Right.
Does that brand new employee really need to have admin privileges?
Right. And
Or do we have locks and fingerprint readers on the security doors?
I can see this being more prevalent in the future. I mean, because when you have you're running a business and you have general liability insurance, nowadays you're also supposed to be having cybersecurity insurance on top of that. So you're paying extra for that. And now also these companies are cracking down, just like they do with house insurance. They want to make sure the house is up to date before they give you insurance. They want to make sure that your business is up to date before they write a policy for you.
Right.
So they want to make sure that you have everything in place, like we talked about, the virus protection, the backup, the policies, to make that work. Otherwise, they will not give you, they will not underwrite the policy for you.
Exactly. And then a lot of these medical companies, we work for a lot of doctors, and the doctors have to be PCI compliant. If anybody logs in remotely, it's two-factor enabled, where you get a text message on your cell phone or a call on your cell phone. Is all your data, the newest one is all your data stored in the U.S. and the people accessing it in the U.S.
Yes.
So we have a medical billing company that is out of country, and unfortunately, due to new Florida state laws, where they're concerned that the foreign country could just request access to that personal health care information and force that overseas company to do it.
Right.
So Florida cut that out. So
which is good. Your medical record should stay in the United States, hosted right here.
yeah, there's a lot of compliance things that you have to be on top of, and some companies just lie. But then if the stuff hits the fan, you're going to end up having to not be covered by that insurance because you lied on it.
Yeah, cyber liability insurance is very, very important, and also they're very, very strict about that. So, don't think that because you have an incident, you're covered for it 100%. If they find out that you didn't do your due diligence in getting yourself everything set up the way we talked about, they will most likely dispute the claim.
Right.
And that's detrimental to your business.
But the most important thing, we talked about all these policies and everything, is the education.
Right.
And we supply education. We can go out and do a mass conference with all 250 employees. We can do tests, quizzes, follow-up, and we can train your employees to make sure that you can be confident that you're not going to risk losing money on a data breach.
Right, and we do that for free. We do it all the time. We come out, we talk about AI, we talk about cybersecurity, all these different things. And if you have a business anywhere within the 50-mile radius that we operate in, we can come in and sit down with your employees in the lunchroom or wherever, and we can give a nice talk and give them an indication about what is necessary. And this is something we do for free as a service.
Right.
So, because we really believe this is something that needs to be talked about.
And it's not just for businesses. You might have seen us out there before at some of these retirement communities or nursing homes. We feel it's very important for the people who have made this country great, made this country the way it is, who aren't as experienced with this technology, to help them preserve the little money they have so they can live and survive. Yeah. So you'll see us all the time at these community homes and things like that, trying to educate wiser generation.
Yes, well, that's a very, very big topic there, and because we deal with a lot of retirees, we see this happening often, and it's a very sad story because, yes, they are more gullible and they want to believe people on the phone, and they get more in trouble, and we can really see that these bad companies are targeting seniors in Florida, and that's not good. With
the availability of ad information, I can target someone between 65 and 85, and I can say if they live within this vicinity of this zip code where we know the nursing homes are, and the scammers just get a call list or an email list, and they're willing to pay $20 for that list if they're just like a business looking for good prospects. This is the anti-business, the bad guys looking for good marks.
And these are not, guys sitting at home. Those are real companies. These are companies based overseas, and they just are out there to scam people.
Big
but
call
they're
centers.
Very organized companies. They have payroll, they have an HR management. They got everything going on there. So just like the real company.
And the misconception we have with some customers sometimes is that it's their ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, ex-relative, somebody who's messing with them, and they get into this state of paranoia. And it really takes generally two people, one to make the initial contact and explain, and the other to reinforce that, to let them know that, hey, it's probably somebody overseas. You don't need to hold that grudge.
Right.
But I mean, with just what we read today, it's not hard to be afraid and get a little bit paranoid off of.
Well, yeah, but that's also the way nowadays we expect to be on 24/7 and be on the internet, so we have this exposure to everything out there. So we really can't complain. So, you know, wherever you go, you're going to have be on a camera, you're going to be tracked somehow, but that's the way we live nowadays.
Yeah, I've tried disabling the JavaScript or disabling everything, tracking camera on my phone, and you know what I found? I couldn't use my phone.
Exactly, you're kind of shooting your own foot there.
The websites don't load. If I gotta take a picture, I gotta turn everything back on. You know, so in this modern day of technology, cookies and those kind of things are going to be part of just life.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that brings us to the end of the show. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, Cameron, for being here with me.
No problem.
And we'll have another episode soon. And thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.